Now that we know about different roles of an interface, I want to talk about different network types. If you change the network type, you may give another role to your interface, or you may not need even these roles in your network. So let's go to our network and start talking about these types. I want to talk about this link between router 1 and router 2. Actually, you can see that this has only 2 routers in this subnet. So I do not actually need to search for a DR or a BDR. Whatever router is going to take this role, that's okay for me. So based on the router ID, I know that router 2's router ID is bigger than router 1's router ID. So router 2 is going to be the designated router unless router 2 has started its OSPF process after router 1. In this case, router 1 is going to take the backup, is going to take the designated router's role, and router 2 is going to be BDR. Okay, let's go to router 1 first. If I go to router 1 and go to interfaces, Ethernet 2 is the interface between router 1 and router 2. As you can express the meaning, you can see the state of backup. Actually, this is because of this instance having a lower router ID. Okay. Now, if I want to change the network type, what can I do? You can see that these interfaces are added dynamically. If I double click on them, I cannot change any setting here. As I have told you previously, you need to add this interface manually. So I click on this plus sign, go and select Ethernet 2 here, and here you can see that I can change the network type to different types that I can see here. And now I want to talk about these network types. Actually, broadcast is the network type that you see mostly in a LAN. Multiple routers can have interfaces in the same subnet. This is the characteristics of a subnet that enforces us to select a DR, a BDR, and other routers as DR other. But you see that I only have 2 routers in one subnet, so I do not actually need to select broadcast unless I don't want to change the setting. And other types of networks, I have a non-broadcast multiple access network here that is called NBMA in brief. I have point-to-point network that is quite okay when you have serial interfaces between 2 routers and you have only these 2 routers in the same subnet. And of course you have point to multi-point type that I want to talk about these different types in a moment. So let's go to our paint environment here and select a new sheet for our purpose. And again, I just want to show you 4 routers in this network. This is the first one. Just want to select the circle. This is my first router here, second router here, third router here, and fourth router here. And I have some connections between these routers. I want to mark these connections with red. So I may have these connections derived from different interfaces or derived from a single interface. I want to show you what these means in a minute. So assuming that this router has multiple connections to these other routers. So this is what I have right here. Okay, I want to try it like this. I have 3 different interfaces on this router, and with these 3 interfaces I have 3 different subnets. Assuming that all of these start with 1010, this may be 1010.11 for example, this is 1010.12, and this is 1010.13. So I have 3 different networks in my topology. This is going to be, for example, router 1, this is router 2, and router 3, and router 4. So in this network I can have different types of connections. This may be a serial interface connection between these 2. For example, a frame relay connection or a point-to-point protocol connection that is called PPP connection. So in this type of network that I have a frame relay or a point-to-point connection, I have only 2 routers in this subnet. So why bother selecting a DR and BDR. I can go and select the point-to-point network type, and that's okay. In this type of network, actually I have a DR and a BDR, but I do not bother selecting one of these. Whichever selects the DR role, that's okay for me. Now I want to change this network and show you something interesting. Assuming that this network is a frame relay network that does not support broadcast. Now you know that OSPF sends multicast to create adjacency between itself and the other router. Okay, now I cannot send multicast over this frame relay interface because this does not support broadcast, and in frame relay jargon you know that broadcast means multicast and broadcast. So whenever I cannot send multicast in a frame relay, actually I cannot send a broadcast, and vice versa. That's correct in the other way. Okay. Now that I cannot send multicast over this frame relay, how can I tell the other side that I am willing to create an adjacency? Actually I cannot. I just need to set a command. That command is neighbor command, and this neighbor command will tell the other side that I am present here, I am willing to create an adjacency with you, and the other side is going to accept, even if it does not have a neighbor command set on itself. So in this case I need to change the network type, and the network type that I'm selecting is a non-broadcast network. Okay, so I can select a non-broadcast network to show the other router that I am to show this router that I am in need. I need to send the updates, send the hello messages, and other, for example, update messages, and all of them should be sent in unicast. So whenever I send my updates in unicast, actually I'm not in need of broadcast or multicast support in frame relay network. So this is the other type of network that I have here. Now I want to show you something else. Now I must remove all of these links here, and instead of having multiple interfaces in this router, I want to select only one interface, and I'm going to create sub interfaces. Actually, I'm connecting this interface to this router, from this interface again to this router, and again to this router. Okay, now I have selected this interface to connect to three different routers. This is router 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have two types of networks available for this kind of network. So the first one is point to multipoint. Actually, this is the one that I can use in this network if my links support multicast or broadcast. So in this case, this is going to be the point side, and the other way is going to be the multi-point side. Okay. Now, if I go to router 2 and change the network type to point, that's okay, because from router 2's point of view, it is connecting to another point. But from router 1's point of view, actually I am connecting to different points. So I need to select point to multi-point network type in this type of network. Now you know that all of these interfaces are in the same subnet. For example, this can be 1010 1 2, this can be 1010 1 3, this can be 1010 1 4, and this can be 1010 1 1. So you can see that all of these interfaces are in the same network. Now if I have connections that does not support multicast or broadcast, what can I do? In this case, I need to change the network type. And which type of network is quite okay for this? The type of network that I will use for this purpose is going to be non-broadcast multi-access. And actually in MikroTik, non-broadcast network type is the same as non-broadcast multi-access network type. So you have only one type of network available for these two situations, non-broadcast multi-access. So in non-broadcast multi-access, again, you have the support of sending and receiving updates and hello messages using unicast traffic. So again, I want to talk about selecting DR and BDR in this type of network. Again, I want to tell you that router 1 is the best choice to be DR. And the other routers can be DR other. Actually, they are not going to compete for the role of DR. So priority for this type of routers are going to be 0 for this specific interface. And for this interface, I can have priority more than 0. It can be anything. So let's go back to our topology and show you this type of network configuration. Actually, my network is not like this, but I can select the, I can use this concept to configure the network type. And actually, you know now what priority means. Whatever the router ID is on the other side, if you raise the priority, actually you are raising the chance of becoming DR in this side. So I'm not going to talk about priority. This is not a big deal, and this is not a very interesting topic here. I just told you that there is just one case I need to manipulate priority, and that's the case that I just showed you. So if I go to network type and select this type of network, and for example use point-to-point network and click on OK, you can see that the Ethernet 2 interface is going to be removed, and this interface that I have added manually is going to replace that. And as you can see, although the other side is not point-to-point, I am using this point-to-point and I am creating the neighborship. This is the essence of what you are doing here. Actually, in your in your real network, you may see some discrepancies here, but you need to make sure that the other side is agreeing this type of network type. So even if I have the neighborship, I prefer to go to router 2 and routing OSPF. I prefer to add Ethernet 2, and this is going to agree with the other side that it is having point-to-point network type. That's the sense of what you're going to do. But what about point-to-multipoint and NBMA? Point-to-multipoint is exactly like this, so I'm not going to talk about that. But let's go and assume that we are not supporting multicast and broadcast in this network. So I will go for NBMA. I select NBMA here, and I go to other side and select NBMA here too. Okay. Now you can see that the state is going to be waiting, and I assume that this is not going to create an adjacency unless I introduce the other router to this router and tell this router that there is another router on the other side that is willing to create an adjacency with you. What should I do? I can go to Neighbors tab here, and as you can see, I need to remove this. You can see that I have some neighbors here. I want to go to NBMA neighbors actually. I want to remove this because I don't want to have it. I click on this plus sign and tell the address of the other side. That is going to be 10.10.12.102. And I can have a priority set here, and you know what priority means. You can select the instance of this OSPF process. As you can see, there is a pole interval here. This pole interval tells me that the other side is going to be called every 2 minutes so that I can know that the other side is alive. Okay, now click on apply, click on OK. So as I told you, one side is enough, but I prefer to go to the other side. As you can see, this is designated router right now. I prefer to go to the other side and make sure that network type is NBMA, and go to NBMA neighbors and tell these router that there is another router on the other side, just in case. So I want to make it clear for this router that you have a neighbor. And now you can see the priority is 0. If I go to interfaces, you can see that this is designated router right now. Let's go to router 1 and check the state. You can see this is backup, and this is because this has a lower router ID. Now I want to increase the priority to 10, for example. The other side is 0. Now you can see the state is going to change. I need to wait for some time and see the result. Let's go to router 2 and see if there is a change there. Router 2 is designated router. Double click on this and priority is going to be, for example, 5. That is less than the other side. Now both interfaces are in waiting mode. You can see that priority actually does not have anything to do with this type of network. Now you can see that this is not the place to set priorities, so I just turn it back to its default value, but here the priority can be changed. So on router 1 I change the priority to 10. On the router that I want to have the designated router role, I go back to router 2 and remove the priority here. I just want to have the priority set to default. Click on OK and go to neighbors and select the priority to be, for example, 1. Now the other side is 10, here is 1, and I need to pass this state of waiting. I need to wait for some time and see the result here. Now you can see that although router 1 has a lower router ID, it is designated router. Let's go to router 2 and see the result. You can see that although this router has a higher router ID, it is in backup state. So where should you change the priority if you need? You should go to NBMA neighbors and change the priority from this place. So I need to remove this, and I go to interfaces and change the or better to remove this interface so that it is going to be added dynamically. Let's go back to here and change this to its default and go to the next topic.